Good morning. Happy Saturday. It's finally the weekend. Hopefully you guys had a great week leading up into the weekend. Relatively short week for a lot of people out there too. And we got Computex that's coming up really soon. In fact, a lot of the coverage is going to start as of June 1st. What's up, Bam Bam? What's up, guys? This is Chris Muzo here. Hopefully you guys had a great week to start off with. And I gotta say, I do apologize for all my wonderful Twitch viewers out there on Wednesday. For some reason, OBS was not wanting to work correctly. LSG, what's up? What's up, Vladis Uncle? Great to see you. Yeah, so that Wednesday, OBS just did not want to, it was a bit finicky when I was clicking the stream button on OBS. So anytime I would click it seemed like it was streaming, but when I was over at Twitch, it just wasn't working correctly. But today, it seems that it's happily working because I see LSG over there. What's up, Takuma? Great to see you. Hopefully you're having a great time over in Forza. Hopefully everyone has had a great start to the week. Well, not really start to the week, but final end to the week. And now we're finally headed to the weekend. Is anybody out there excited for Computex that's coming up, or are you feeling a bit mixed about it? Of course, we do have some things to talk about when it comes to pricing and hardware and what to expect, especially with NVIDIA's new announcement. In fact, maybe that's what I should have named the stream. Yes, I am. That is insane. You're at level 169. I have to double check my level because I know I'm not up there just quite yet. But yeah, nowhere near your level. But it's quite crazy that you actually got the Cosa egg. Unless they're cutting prices, I'm not interested. Hey, that's a good point. That's a very good point. Instead, we're just hearing nothing but price increases. It's quite sad, I gotta say, for the most part, because you want to hear some positivity, especially when it comes to the hardware markets. It sounds like they're introducing quite a few new products. I hear Noctua is finally debuting their AIO over there, something that I know some of us are looking forward to. But I do get that sense where it seems that hardware is just too expensive. It's pretty much unaffordable for a lot of people out there that's unable to go for something like a PC build. So yes, it's again in price increases everywhere. It's just sad. I agree. I 100% agree. It's just, it just seems like a never-ending. There's never a good way to explain why there's price increases. Of course, we all know the main reasons why. We know the reasons why they're doing it is because of the demand from AI. Obviously, they need DRAM, they need the wafers because they want to create more HBMs. And worst of all, there's actually going to be a video that I'm going to talk about a little bit more about the whole Steam Deck debacle and the hardware pricing and how it's going to pretty much affect all PC handhelds from down the line. Not just PC handhelds, it's going to affect laptops. It's also going to affect our cell phones because anything that you get this year is almost going to seem like a downgrade if you already had a laptop or some sort of handheld prior to 26. So, Flatus Uncle says Chinese PC cases are a very good bargain. Not the best quality, but it gets the job done, and it looks the same. You know, the crazy thing is there's so many different PC case companies out there. I think that there's just quite a good variation. There's all different designs that you can really choose from. There's even sneaker designs as we've seen. We've seen like some really crazy cases, especially from Cooler Master. That's where we see a lot of the PC case designs where they could go quite insane. But the good thing is with PC cases, we don't have to worry about the whole pricing as much. I'm more concerned about the pricing, and so is everyone else. When it comes to the SSDs, when it comes to the RAM, when it comes to GPUs, it just seems like it just has constantly went up in price. And then with Computex coming up, this will be a good indicator to see how the pricing is going to be, especially when the new handhelds are released. And some indications of that are the Steam Deck. You've seen the pricing of the Steam Deck go up quite a bit. Steam Deck went up $240 from its original price point. Now it's $750 if you want a 512 megabyte drive inside of a OLED Steam Deck. And then if you get the 1 terabyte version, it's $949. Nike PC case tank. Yeah. Yeah, the pyramid cases. You know what I like? I know Simply Takuma certainly likes these. Is the ones that are designed just like a car, and I'm where it looks like it's an engine. Thermal Take did some really cool designs like that. So I'm gonna start up a goal, guys, for everyone here, just to let you guys know. What this will be is for the Threadripper build. So far, we get $150 raised for the Threadripper build. It's slowly getting there. Of course, it's going to take a bit of time, however long it takes. Maybe it might not be this generation, it could be the next generation, but we are doing it. So just to let you guys know, you're more than welcome to join in on this whole Threadripper cause. So we'll call this Threadripper build project. I'll throw it up there for you guys, and I'll leave this on for the duration of the chat. Okay, so I'm going to just excuse me for a moment as I will rename the stream. I think it's actually a bit better because what I would want to also talk about is NVIDIA and Microsoft. They're actually working on a project together. If you guys don't know, they both posted something on X about a new generation. It started, or a new, there's going to be a new PC era. And they both posted the same exact thing. Same thing with the AI variants of the page. So it's quite funny, and some people are quite scared to see what they're going to release because now you're going to worry about more cost. So Takuma says handhelds are going to be over $1,600 for the top model, and Steam Deck is going to be $1,000. Now Steam Deck has value. Threadripper prepared with 8 gigabytes of RAM. That's going to be quite the combination there, if that did happen there. So let me go back here. I'm going to just rename the stream across the board here, up on Twitch as well. So I apologize for this momentary switch. I gotta say, it's hopefully OBS behaves today. That's what I hope for it. Steam Deck price. Let me talk about this. I'll put NVIDIA ARM chip, because that's going to be an exciting topic, I think, for quite a lot of people out there, especially on those who are thinking of alternate, because it's practically going to be similar to an SoC, similar to what the M1 is. If you, the M1, where it has the CPU and GPU built in, or pretty much your traditional APU or your iGPU. I'm curious to see how powerful it's going to be. Now Qualcomm's going to be SOL, because now for them the competition is going to be quite fierce, because now they're going to seem irrelevant at this point if this is going to happen. So more AI slop that's going to destroy PC gamers. That in a way, I'm sort of relieved that I'm not going to Computex for that reason. And because the thing is, like, when we go to Computex, you expect the best when it comes to PC hardware, especially in the gamers realm. But it almost seems like things are headed more to a enterprise level. Everything that they are promoting is now enterprise level. What I do fear is that not only are we going to see it here, but it's just going to happen from this day forward. Well, since CES 2026, we've seen nothing but AI. And in Computex, we could certainly expect that. In CES 2027, it's probably going to be more likely the same, unless for some reason there is some sort of rejection to this. So I will open up the... So let's switch over here. I'm going to switch over to the wonderful browsing feature so we could take a look. Computex is going to be 99% AI. It's definitely a possibility. Not just a possibility, it is going to happen. Yeah, originally I was really excited. I got invited to all these events for Computex. And then at the same time, I'm kind of glad that I didn't go because I kind of know where this direction is headed. We're seeing indications where it comes to new AI software that they're introducing when it comes to any of your favorite hardware platforms, such as ASUS, MSI, Gigabyte, that they're starting to have new software for those integrated into the hardware. Now, a lot of people may like it, some people may not, and it can certainly be a bit sketchy for everybody out there that is looking to be able to just really truly enjoy the whole purpose of building a PC. That it's not just going to be based on AI. Not everyone is going to be building a PC for AI purposes. So, but in Computex, it seems that we have a good indication that when NVIDIA does announce their new chip here, it's going to more than likely uh, introduce more AI capabilities. Now, of course, Microsoft said that they were going to get rid of the whole Copilot side of things. That they're slowly going to disintegrate away from the whole Windows experience. And same thing with the Xbox experience, that they were going to pretty much disintegrate that as well. So when it comes to NVIDIA and Microsoft working together, will they introduce something different? Will it be something more exclusive to their ARM chip? And that's something we're going to definitely see. Another topic that I do want to bring up here is going back over to the whole hardware side. I can see now that companies are looking more with the software side, that like Nvidia, that changed so much from driver 610. Yeah, I mean, it's like they pretty much retired their traditional Nvidia control panel. I know a lot of people certainly have a lot of connections with that control panel because that's been around for the longest. Um, Good thing is it's still accessible. People can still access the classic control panel, but in order to do so, you have to actually download it separate. And not a lot of people are going to just download that and instead just kind of blend in with the modern times of using their new control panel. If you notice, just like what Takuma said, like with the new driver, they even try to market their whole Chat RTX. Chat RTX is a new feature that, not really a new feature, but something that NVIDIA has been trying to push. So that way you can use their software for not just using it for graphics, but you can also use it for its AI usage. Now, has anybody out there actually tried Chat RTX to see how the experience is? Um, Going over here real quick, guys, I want to talk about the trend force about their DRAM price trends. And this is going to be based off of the 29th. So this is pretty recent. This is as of yesterday. So give me a second, guys. I'm just going to open up this other line here. Perfect. And let me see. Make sure that we got. There we go. We'll do that. Perfect. And sorry about that, guys. Just making sure I got this also connected as well here. All right, perfect. Okay, now we're good. Okay, so what I wanted to talk about is Force price trends. This is going to be based off of their DRAM prices. Now, as you see, everything is slowly going up. It's upticking quite a bit, and this is as of yesterday. Now, this was as posted as of 5:50 yesterday, so it's 20 minutes in advance. So this was the last posted uptick when it came to price trends. Now, this is for DDR5. As you see, it's 4,800 and 5,600 mega transfers. It went up about 0.16%. Now, it doesn't seem like that much of an increase, especially for what the pricing currently is. Now, when it comes to the and Windows is concentrating on better updates. Gigabyte is updating the style of the BIOS. ASUS is also, yes, we're going to see quite a difference when it comes to their new BIOSes. What's up, Axel? Yeah, thank you for stopping in as always. So DDR5 16 gigabytes of two sticks, 2 gigabytes of 8 is now pretty much at 0%, so it's practically in a flat pattern. Now the only thing that's truly decreased here is definitely going to be the DDR4 16 gigabytes. 2 sticks of 8 gigabytes went down at 0.41%. Yes. Yeah, we'll definitely catch you later. Now if you take a look at the history here, when you take a look at the chart, I gotta sign in, that's right. If you take a look at the history, I'll show you a different chart. We'll go over to PC Parts Picker because they also have a chart. So you go take a look. And unfortunately, the sad thing is we're not going to end up seeing any type of change when it comes to hardware pricing, especially because the demand from AI is so high that it's causing everything to go up tremendously. So from your usual hardware, such as like the Steam Deck, where you originally paid only $549 and $649, and then of course you had the models where you had to pay $749 at the most. Now, all that has pushed up quite drastically because of the cost of hardware. Hardware is going to constantly go up, and the one that most people go for is going to be right here, which is the DDR5 at 6,000 mega transfers, and it's going to be 2 sticks of 32 gigabytes. This is pretty much in stagnation type of mode. You see a little slight increase here from right here, right after about like April into May, but it's not going to be much. It's roughly about $1,000 to $1,100. Now, the thing that scares me about Computex here is after they start announcing a lot of the new hardware, is typically going to be when you start to see the increases and when it comes to the hardware side. So yes, all I see is 8 gigabytes at two sticks of 8 gigabytes DDR4. Yeah. Unfortunately, even with DDR4, it's actually become more expensive than DDR5. So quite the it's quite the choice here because you can get AM4 for a much cheaper rate. You can purchase the motherboard, you can purchase the CPU, but when you purchase the RAM, it's actually going to be a bit more expensive.
At Simply Takuma Super Chatted $6.40.
Nice. So we're getting there, Takuma. So we got $156.40 upcoming for the Threadripper build. Certainly do appreciate it, Takuma. $93 in 2025, 32 gigabytes for a DDR5. Oh, okay. Yeah, it's again, you're going to see these price increases, especially the only way to truly get a decent deal is if you go for the bundles. We do have a PC build coming up soon. I'm excited to announce that for sure. I'm just trying to get confirmation on some of the parts that are coming in. And as soon as I do, I will certainly let the members know and the subscribers know exactly what we are going to build. But I think it's going to be quite exciting as we do have some parts that actually came in. And I think some of the things that we can certainly wait for is between after Computex to see exactly what they announce then. For then we can actually get a good idea of what type of build we will be headed to, whether it's going to be Intel or AMD. Maybe I can put out a poll and see what everybody would prefer to see if they want to see an AMD build or a Intel build. But anyway, looking at the whole AMD side, if you look at their bundles here, what's up? What's up, JCino? Great to see you. So when you look at these builds here, as you see, it's quite changed. They used to have these $300 builds, $200 builds.
Flatus
Um,
Uncle 7 says, I think Intel. Cause everyone wants AMD.
oh,
So do opposite.
oh, that's
C-Max
funny.
Car 715 says.
My fault, guys. I turned that switch on by accident. I think it's all close. Everyone wants AMD, so do the opposite. What's up, Z-Man? Great to see you. So they have these $200 or $300 bundles, and it seems like they still have them. They just pushed it down further down the list because it's now it seems like they obviously want to push more when selling these $400 bundles, $600 bundles, and $630 bundles. Now, if you get the $400 bundle, this obviously it doesn't come with RAM. So this would definitely not be in the mix for anybody out there that is deciding to do some sort of PC build. For anyone that is doing a PC build, this would definitely be a bit rough. What's up, Kilobyte? What's up, Ernesto? Great to see you. For all my wonderful Twitch viewers, I do apologize about Wednesday. It seemed that OBS was acting up. Now OBS is behaving as of now. Yes. Happy Saturday. Hopefully you guys had a great week into the weekend. I know it's been a long week. We got Computex coming up really soon. I'll be covering as much as I can about that.
At Simply Takuma super chatted $1.47.
Thank you, Takuma. We'll get there. We'll get there. Thank you for the wonderful donations. He definitely wants to see this wonderful Threadripper build. So if you're wondering what the donations are for, it's going to be for this upcoming Threadripper build. More than likely we'll end up going with this kit that's way down here, way down the list. And we're trying to raise up to 7,000 to pretty much cover this build. Of course, I'll do my best in order to get some of the parts from some of the manufacturers, so that way we can reduce the cost and maybe get this Threadripper build going here. Forza has been great. Actually, did you get to see, like, when I was playing with Takuma and Wasabi? I was playing terrible that day. It's been so long since I played like Forza games, but I gotta say it was a lot of fun. It was a blast. But now I'm getting a lot better at it. I was thinking of trading in my 9070 XT for a 5080. Now if you're choosing to do that, now there's no really true wrong move. If you want to exchange your 9070 XT for a 5080, it just depends on your reason. What are the goals that you're trying to accomplish? Are you trying to reach at a higher resolution, a better refresh rate? Are you trying to also use it for something like DaVinci? It just depends on what your needs are out of the graphics card. Now, if it's just solely for gaming, like if it's just for, say, ultra wide graphics, like 1440p, wouldn't matter as much. But definitely, let me know and I'll definitely answer that for you here. So I was rounding up my. Oh yeah, how did that go? Hopefully, you got that straightened. I got some bills I gotta pay too myself. Like after doing these builds, so it's through Newegg. Oh, okay, strictly gaming. Okay, so what type of resolution? Yeah, I know that's what it feels like. Oh, they definitely love me. Strictly gaming. Okay. So if you're using it for strictly gaming, for what type of resolution are you going for? What type of resolution are you trying to achieve? 4K. Okay, so you're trying to get 4K. And what type of games are you playing? What is your specs, by the way, real quick? Just so you know. Just to remind everybody out there, because so that way we can share with anybody out there that's thinking of going for like something like equivalent 4K build. Now he's trying to aim for something more like native 4K, I'm assuming. And if this is the case, 5080 would certainly help, especially on the type of games. And more than likely, 99. Okay, so 9900 X3D, 32 gigabytes. I mean, your specs are definitely going to be decent enough for it. 32 gigabytes of RAM. Those are the main hardware you have to know. when it comes to gaming in 4K, because there's a lot of games that require, such as like Unreal Engine 5. It also requires a pretty decent CPU for you to be able to enjoy gaming on. So if you are gaming on something like on a CPU such as the 9900 X3D, it'll do well into 4K. Of course, like when it comes to certain games, it might be hard to completely max out depending on how much demand is in the game here. So AAA games, just one player stuff. Okay, so if it's just one player games, then okay, the 9800 X3D. Well, either way, then either if you have the 9800 X3D or the 9900 X3D, both processors are going to be definitely good enough to be able to handle something like 4K. The 5080 can certainly do it. Now, don't expect to try to max out your resolution in every type of game. If you're trying to make sure to reach that 4K resolution comfortably and be able to game at a high, pretty much at a high FPS, then it would be good to optimize for it. So the one big help is certainly the absolutely, like of course, if you use frame generation when it comes to the RTX 5080, this is obviously going to boost it quite a bit. Also remember to enable your NVIDIA reflex boost, and also remember to disable any type of variable refresh rate or that's built into the game. Make sure to have that also disabled. But inside the monitor, depending on the type of display that you're using, you want to make sure to have that enabled. You just don't want to enable VSync. That wouldn't be necessary. I'm really interested into DLSS over AMD FSR. Okay, well that makes sense. If you want to try DLSS, it's definitely quite a bit of a different experience. You'll have a better experience when it comes to things like ray tracing and path tracing. But of course, it's going to be very difficult in certain games to achieve path tracing levels into 4K. But of course, the whole frame generation and the NVIDIA reflex will certainly help with that. So the question is on what 4K 3840 and what is and how fast is the refresh rate FPS. So Takuma sounds like he's willing to help you out here. That's great. And as he's helping out Jacino here, I will introduce a little bit more about some of the products that Micro Center does have. If anyone is thinking of going through a PC build, it's much more efficient, and it's better to certainly go for a build that you're able to get a bundle, because if you do not get a bundle, it's just going to be expensive, especially if you try to aim for a certain hardware. If you go for RAM itself, for example, if we go to PC parts and we take a look at some RAM right now, if we go for computer memory, it's going to be very expensive. Like if you go for some typical DDR5 memory, for a kit now, it's $455. And you can already see that some of the kits that they have together here could certainly, it could definitely help lower the cost tremendously, especially if you're trying to go with a really fresh PC build. Now, for anyone that is in need of upgrading memory, I even suggest doing the same thing. I also suggest just going ahead and just going with a kit, because it doesn't hurt to have extra hardware to do so. If you have the extra hardware, it's in a way, it's a good thing, because it's always good to have backup. Just in case if you do have some sort of failure, or maybe you do want to do another PC build in the near future, maybe you want to build your own type of Steam machine, this is certainly the way to do it. It'll save on cost for you in the near future if you go ahead and decide to do so. So let me go here real quick, guys. So I know there's a lot of concern when it comes to the whole handheld industry side. Of course, as I mentioned a bit earlier, when it came to the Steam Deck, the prices has gone up quite tremendously for it. Now, of course, if you go ahead and take a look at that, if you see the pricing for the Steam Deck itself, you can see that the pricing is up $240. Now, when it comes to the newer, when it comes to the MSI Claw 8 8 AI Plus, or if it comes to the, say, the new Acer Predator Atlas 8, or if it comes to the new One X Player 3, if it comes to any of those handhelds, do you truly think, or do you truly believe that the pricing is going to be in the low side? Do you truly believe that it's going to be under $1,000? And this is certainly going to be a big issue when it comes to the portable PC market here. This could either cause it to end up uh, getting either people are going to be interested, which are definitely going to be more the enthusiast side, is going to be more interested in getting a PC handheld compared to those who just want to get a handheld and pretty much take it onto the go for gaming. So it's going to be, it's going to be over $1,000 for a lot of this hardware. It's no longer going to be in the triple digits. And could this truly affect? Could this truly affect it? Could this truly affect the sales when it comes to it? Now, it's could possibly get more expensive, and if it does, could this possibly kill off like even handheld gaming? So let me see here. So, speaking of which, some of the products that you may have heard or has been announced is that Intel has decided to come out with their G3 and the Intel G3 Extreme. Now, when it comes to the Intel G3 Extreme, that is supposed to be the competitor practically to AMD's Z2 Extreme. It's going to be quite interesting to see how they will compare to each other when it comes to benchmarks, because it does have quite a bit of power, that G3 Extreme. You're talking about 12 Xe cores. That is strictly for graphics. And if that's the case, it makes you wonder how much power can this portable handheld hold. Now, some of the handhelds, like for example, the One X Player has up to 85 watt hours of battery, which is excellent. Even the Acer Predator Atlas 8 has about 80 watt hours of battery, which is also a good indicator for decent battery life. Now, I'm curious to see how well it's going to compare when it comes to efficiency compared to how the Z2 Extreme does. Now, if you guys don't know, the Z2 Extreme typically gets like roughly about, like you could get like about an hour and a half to 2 hours of decent gameplay with the D wattage being pretty high. You can get it like within about like 30 watts of power usage. Now, I wonder how Intel's going to be when it comes to that. I wonder if they will be a bit more efficient, because Intel typically tends to run well when it does run on the lower side here. So going back to the bundles here. Now, if anyone is curious about a decent bundle and you're on a tighter budget, they do have this kit right here, which is about $300, which is the 7500 X3D, and it does contain the 16 gigabyte DDR5. Great for anybody out there that just wants to get a build started. You don't want to spend a ton of money. Of course, the motherboard is more of a this is more of a smaller board. This is basically like a ITX board here. So it's a B850M paired with the 7500 X3D, and it does also contain 16 gigabytes of RAM. This would definitely be a great way to start for anyone out there that is looking to do a build. Now, if you want to go back to AM4, you can, but here's the thing: sometimes the memory is going to be more expensive if you choose to expand on it. Now you can get the 16 gigabytes you could get AM5 board here, and you can get also the 5500. You could get this for about $200. Now, of course, I would suggest going at least 7500 X3D, because at least you have the V-cache, and it's a decent processor. It truly is, especially if you're trying to go for a budget and for gaming. Also, let's see, another one you can look at. 5800 XT is not bad for those who are looking at for more of creator use. Also great for gaming as well, but of course it does come with 16 gigabytes of memory, and 32 gigabytes almost seems like less of a choice unless you go into the higher tiers here. Once you get to the higher tiers like the 9700X, You can get it for 550, and you get a decent Gigabyte B650 gaming X8X board. They also do have other kits here that you can go for. 9800X 3D kit. This one's definitely one I would certainly recommend out of all of the kits, as it's a $680 for those that would definitely go for it. Now, uh, that's a great question, JCino. Like, is there any type of 5080 that anyone would recommend? There's a lot of great 5080s, to be honest, out there. It just depends on what type of motherboard you have again. And that way you can pretty much match it up with your brand if you prefer to do so. Because most of them do have great GPUs. I'd say like none of them truly have any. Yeah, Pelokun's correct. Does yes, yes and no. It just depends on what type of motherboard. Like, it's not good to go cheap on a motherboard. But it's good to get something that's kind of like pretty on the decent tier. Now, it also depends on what you're using the motherboard for. Tomahawk 870 is a great choice. Yes. Tomahawk 870 is not expensive either. It's it's crazy. I'm surprised they don't have any Tomahawk bundles. I think they did, but I think Newegg actually has them. Here they mostly have Gigabyte bundles, and they had ASUS bundles, but it seems like I see less ASUS. This one looks like an ASUS bundle. Yeah, ASUS. If we go into Newegg here, we will more than likely find a bundle that we can get with the Tomahawk. And the key is when you look up any of these, like if you're looking for a bundle, it's best to look up for the motherboard itself. And then if you click into it, you'll actually see the bundles like down here in the bottom, down in the packaging side. And right here on the right, you can see that it says that it has a motherboard memory combo. You get 32 gigabytes of RAM along with this motherboard combo, which is actually a decent deal because the Tomahawk itself is typically about $300. Now this is the X870 plus with the Corsair RAM kit that it does come with. The RAM kit that it does come with is 6400 megahertz, and let me see what type of latency this is. Let me click into it here. The latency is CL36. It seems like that's becoming more the standard, especially for anyone that is looking to do some sort of PC build here. So same here with AM5, almost all. Yeah, pretty much most AM5 boards, you're pretty much good. You're covered. So what would I pair with that? Okay, so you have, okay, so go, you can get like I would say the MSI Trio is really good. Excellent GPU that they do have. MSI Shadow actually would be really nice. If you don't, but the thing is about the MSI Shadow, it doesn't have RGBs in it. If that matters to you, then I wouldn't go with that. But the MSI Shadow is definitely like more the budget friendly side. I'll show you real quick. So MSI Shadow looks something like this. Now this is on the expensive end because it's like pretty much all out of stock. And this is not even from Newegg itself, so it's like more expensive than what it should. Oh yeah, this one is. So maybe they ended up raising the prices. I'm gonna double check with Micro Center anyway. But it's $13.50 for this Shadow. Definitely on the cheaper side. You know what I was thinking? That's actually a decent deal because I'm thinking of the 5070 Ti. 5070 Ti is now $1,000. I still can't get over that. I'm still thinking about how the pricing is. But the 5080 for $13.50, that's actually not a bad deal. Unfortunately, they don't have any in stock here. We'll double check with Micro Center. I believe it's going to be around the same price then. RTX 5080 Shadow. So we'll take a look here. I had a super bad one, the ASUS B650M Prime Wi-Fi, the board that the hub settled for about 5,600 megatransfers. Mine did 6,000 megatransfers with the 4 slots populated with later BIOSes. Okay, that can happen. You don't typically want to get a board. I guess they don't have it in stock here. They only have the They only have the laptop. That's it. Let me see if they, you know what I'll do? I'll do include out of stock items, and they don't even have that. We'll go over here real quick because certain motherboards out there, depending on the one you get, um, and the processor you get does matter too, because what will happen is certain lanes will end up being used up, or you have limited lanes. And so you want to make sure to pair it correctly when it comes to building your PC or having your PC. But from what you have, the Tomahawk's decent. The X870 Tomahawk will certainly reach the levels that you're looking for, especially for the RTX 5080. So what motherboard do you have? Maybe okay. I'm in Sweden. They sold the MSI Ventus for 1,000 USD. You know, I think Takuma could agree with me because I think Takuma also didn't have a great experience with the Ventus as well. The Ventus is, I'm sure it's gotten better over time, but ever since the RTX 2080 Ti, it kind of kept away from the Ventus. They've had issues, but MSI usually is good, usually around more of closer to the MSI Shadow, or you go MSI Trio, or even of course the higher end is the Suprum. Now those are like the three I would go to. They also have the what's the other one I'm thinking of too? MSI also has another decent one, but let me click into it and that'll actually end up refreshing my memory. So MSI, and we'll go over to the 5080 here. So this is what they have in stock. So of course they have the Inspire, and then they have the 5080 Gaming Trio. So the Gaming Trio is good. Inspire would be not too bad of a choice, but they don't really have any in stock at this store anyway. But this would be a decent choice if you had to go and choose. I would pick the Inspire over the Ventus. But if you had to get the Ventus, you can get it. They do have warranties on their GPUs here. The warranties on their GPUs when it comes to MSI is typically between the, I believe it's the 5-year range. I'll double check it here though to make sure warranty. Oh, for them it's 3 years. Okay, so if you go for MSI's RTX 5080, they have a 3-year warranty on it. So MSI is good. The only bad experience with the RTX 2080 Ti, but that's not the GPU's manufacturer's problem. Yeah, I think so too. Because I've heard the Ventus has actually improved, especially over the years compared to what it originally was. Um, it was a scary GPU at the time. There was a lot of issues where people were getting these GPUs where they were having issues to where they were like it was not processing correctly, or it was not just like it would consistently freeze. So Takuma, I have the Tomahawk X870. Yes, I think we got that down. Now, if you're looking at other 5080 variants, if there is no other choice here, let's see what they have here. Now, we'll just exit out of MSI and we'll go strictly to the RTX 5080 side to see what they have. Now, they do have the Gigabyte RTX 5080. That's a great choice. Now, most of them, WindForce, great choice. Zotac actually good. Asus NVIDIA GeForce RTX. This one's decent, but expensive. So again, when it comes to the Asus side, like if anybody is thinking of going for a Asus GPU, just to let you guys know, it goes Prime, Tough, then it goes Prime, Tough, Strix, and then it goes to Astral. Astral is going to be the top grade. It has the extra 4th fan in there. But of course, it's not as necessary, especially on a RTX 5080. But I gotta say, the white version of it looks really nice, especially if you have like an all white build going. I had the RTX 2080 Ti Lightning, but with the oh, that sucks. Especially with the Lightning, that's a really depressing time. How long did it take for them to actually end up like servicing it and giving you a brand new 2080 Ti Lightning or refurbished one, right? It just depends on what they have at the time, especially because that was such a limited series. Um, so going down here, again, here's the ROG Astral. We were just speaking of that. That's 1950. nearly the price of something that you can purchase like for RTX 5090. Not today, but like back then. It's just crazy how expensive the pricing is when it comes to the GPUs. Of course, so a black MSI GPU would pair great with their X870. Yeah, the Inspire. I think Inspire. I think the MSI Shadow would do great. But I gotta say the Shadow is probably going to be a lot harder to get, especially now, because of it's definitely the cheapest card MSI does have, but yet it performs very well. It's a great card to have. Um, and who would have thought? Like after like a year and a half, it's like you would think that you would get a better chance of getting GPUs, but it's still very difficult to get a decently priced GPU. Now, if you what they do have in stock, of course, are the more expensive ones, which are going to be watch. If I check in to see what is in stock here. It's going to be just a few, and it's only 7. They only got 7 here in stock, and that's the Gigabyte NVIDIA GeForce RTX 5080 Gaming, great GPU, 1500. Zotac is also a great choice if you want to go ahead and go with that one or that route. And let's see. Yeah, that's probably the cheapest one is the 1229. But 5070 Ti, you're going for 4K. So if you're going to 4K, it's like the 5070 Ti is pushing it. You can manage it, but you will have to adjust your or optimize your settings for this to work properly for you to achieve 4K and plus a high refresh rate. So what I would suggest to do is if you go ahead and if you get the 5080, it's worth it for you for peace of mind. It'll be a lot easier for you to achieve 4K with something like a 5080. Now, again, it's not going to be like a crazy difference over the 5070 Ti, but it will be a lot easier to achieve the 4K resolution that you're reaching for. So nothing. They gave me the full MSRP on. Yeah. So they couldn't even. Wow, they couldn't even give you a new one. Or, but it was on seller's warranty back then, so I bought the. Oh, okay, okay. Yeah, that would be certainly the way to go. I would suggest that go 5080. It'd be a lot easier to optimize for it, and you'll definitely enjoy your gaming. Especially depends on like how large of a display you also have when it comes to it. Now, let me get back onto the topic real quick here. Of course, you can feel free to ask any questions here. We certainly are here to answer it. Just to let you guys know, so far we got $157 roughly, I think, about that we raised up for the Threadripper build coming up. And we also do have a build that's coming up on the channel in just a little bit. Once I get more parts in, I will let you know exactly what we have to work with, especially to the members at the roundtable. If you're not part of the Discord, make sure to feel free to join in. It's free for everybody to join. Also, what I want to touch base with is the whole price factor when it comes to the pricing. When it comes to handheld devices, such as for PC gaming. Now, of course, you have the MSI 8 AI Claw, where it's going to be the MSI Claw 8 EXAI, and then you also have the Acer Predator Atlas 8, and you also have the new 1X Player 3, which all contain the new Intel G3 or the Intel G3 Extreme iGPU in there. The great thing about it, it has 12 XE cores in there, and it also has up to 32 gigabytes on a lot of these models. It has about 1 terabyte on a lot of them. So I believe the Predators, where it features the full 12280 M.2 drive if you're looking to upgrade the drive itself. A lot of flexibility when it comes to portable handhelds, but the problem is the pricing is not going to be where it's where a lot of people are going to want it. It's easily going to be over $1,000 for any of these products here. Thank you for and can I afford it? Oh man, that sucks. Um, at least you got the 5070. At least you got the 5070. That sucks. Um, Sometimes it happens. What happened with your 3080? So when it comes to the handhelds, they're easily going to be either $1,200 or over. Even the Steam machine itself, that's the precedence where it sets where it's $950, and that's just not very new hardware there. And the problem here that you have is that the pricing, whether if it's new or old hardware, it's still going to be quite elevated compared to where it originally was. As I mentioned, DDR4, that's why I wanted to coincide with the whole memory price trends here, has gone up quite drastically. If you get DDR4 memory for an AM4 build, it's going to be much more expensive than getting even DDR5. So older hardware can cost more, and that hasn't truly changed. That's has always been the way it's been. Like as you get to older hardware, it's going to get more expensive. And in fact, like last year, I remember when Samsung was talking about just canceling the whole line of DDR4. A lot of these manufacturers were. But now, in today's world, fortunately, we don't have Samsung anymore, and we also don't have Micron anymore that is working on the consumer side of memory. Now, the only ones that are working on the consumer side of memory is going to be SK Hynix. And if you guys haven't heard, SK Hynix is actually one of the first companies over in Asia that actually reached a $1 trillion market, which is insane. It just shows you how much money is invested when it comes to AI, and it's just going to unfortunately make everything more expensive in that side. And when it comes to just not just portable hardware, but when it comes to even just like your cell phone, or when it comes to your laptops, or even when it comes to these upcoming new consoles, just remember like a lot of these new consoles haven't been just quite announced yet. They haven't officially stated the pricing, but certainly expect the pricing to be a lot more expensive to comparing to originally what they were. I mean, think about like when the PS5 and the Xbox Series X first released. You had to spend about $500 on a PS5, and for Xbox Series X, it was roughly about, I believe, around the same price. I think it was like $500 too. And now you go into about like 5, 6 years later, the very same hardware. Now it's not upgraded. They haven't really truly changed anything. Everything has become much more expensive. Now that same PS5, that same Xbox Series X is now $650 for the Xbox Series X. PlayStation 5, it's going to be $650 to $700 for the hardware. And then if you choose to get the new variants of it, like the PS5 Pro, now you're talking about spending about $750 to $800 for a PS5 Pro. Now, imagine when it comes to the new hardware. This is all going to be technically old hardware once we get into the new generation, because once we get to the new generation, you're talking about cost that could potentially go quite up. And and that whole era of just paying only 3 digits for a console is going to disappear. So now Amazon products are getting also more expensive. I think, the thing is, I feel like all products now are getting much more expensive than what they were. So I am one achievement. Awesome, Steve. You're insane, man. That's why you can play that mode, Insanity. And I would love to certainly get back into it. And how do you like playing Leon Must Die? I was having fun playing that the other day too. Leon Must Die is a great mode in Resident Evil Requiem. But again, when it comes to hardware, it seems like it's just not going to truly drop unless there's some sort of AI bubble pop. And this kind of wants me to, I want to go back to the whole topic of NVIDIA, speaking of their new ARM processor. It's called I think it's N1X. It's something like that. But their ARM processor, is going to be the one that competes pretty much with Snapdragon, which is their ARM processor. And then you also have the M series line when it comes to Apple. So it makes you really curious to see what this is going to be truly capable of. You're talking about something that can be much more battery efficient, and also is going to be, I more than likely, which we all know, is going to be much more AI focused as well. So the very same hardware and nice technology stand, but now the consoles are costing $600 or more. This is why I'm not buying consoles anymore. Even I pay way more on the PC hardware side. I think we all do, especially for everyone that has owned PC hardware. So I'm going to throw a poll out there for everyone. And I think this will actually be a great question for most people to answer, because I'm curious to hear how people will certainly react to this. So I'm going to open up a poll, and you can easily answer by just putting 1 or 2. So so I'm going to type it in now. Would you pay over for a console? So this will be the question. Would you pay over $1,000 for a gaming console? You can put 1 for yes and 2 for no. Would you pay over $1,000 for a gaming console? Because now this is going to be more than likely the new normal when it comes to hardware, as everything has been much more. Hardware is going to just constantly stay up in the direction it's in, unless, of course, there's some sort of AI bubble pop. And of course, everyone's waiting for that. So I know CES is more than 6 months away, but any predictions? Next Ryzen CPU. So what I believe when it comes to the next Ryzen, I actually just spoke on this. I actually made a video based on this, on the new Ryzen. Even Zen 7 we spoke about here. But I believe it's going to be quite the change. $1,000 is cheap compared to my PCs. Yeah, that's what I mean. That it's cheap compared to your PCs. I will speak on this in a bit. PS5 Pro has been 1,000 since. Oh man, yeah. So some people feel not too surprised. It's got to be Windows ready and Steam ready. Yeah, of course, 100%. But do you the thing is, I think when it comes to consoles too, depending on how Project Helix goes, I wonder if they'll allow you to install, or if it's going to be pretty much locked, like similar to your phones, like when you have like an iPhone, right? An iPhone is locked into having an iPhone, and we all know that. I mean, into having an iPhone, but it's locked into having iOS. So when it comes to the new Project Helix, will it be the same way? Will it be locked into the Xbox ecosystem, or will they allow you to kind of dual boot? Like, is it truly going to be like a hybrid PC? But again, in time, we will certainly tell. So in this time, when the PS5 released until today, the GPU had 2 generations of evolution. The GPU power are like 4 times the increase. So we got a mix. We got a mix that people would purchase $1,000 gaming console, and some people will not purchase. So I don't know if it will pop. Businesses are throwing money at AI, even here at our hospital. I got a crazy story to tell you guys too. Speaking of AI, but I would never buy something underpowered for over. Yes, I get that. Uh, he said, yeah, I guess as long as some people feel a bit mixed about it, mixed about the topic. It's going to cost. It's going to be expensive. That's truly the realistic view of it. It's not going to be cheap in order for us to play anymore. Hence why NVIDIA is pushing so much. Actually, let me go to NVIDIA because I want to show you guys. NVIDIA 12 month GeForce Now. It's actually in a PR release here. Let's see. It's quite insane because it's like certain games, like if you purchase like 007, you're able to get like 12 months free to try it out. I think PS6 will be, I think so too. I think it'll be closer to that range. I agree. And yes, NVIDIA is coming out with the ARM chip. It'll be within probably like a day or two. We'll know. Today's the 30th, right? So we'll know by, I think, the 2nd or the 3rd. I'm pretty sure. Computex actually officially starts on the 2nd. Media Day will be on the 1st. I feel so bad that I had to deny a lot of these invitations of going to Computex for this year. But I will certainly go for the next year. I'm hoping for a better year next year for, especially when it comes to the whole AI segment. I kind of feel like it was a good decision not to go to, because again, I have an older dog that I have to take care of, and plus I too also have to say, like, I feel like it's going to be an AI infestation similar to like how CES was. So didn't NVIDIA? Yes, they did. They had the Tiger chips. If you guys, well, in fact, the Nintendo Switch, the original, I think the Nintendo Switch one was it that also the Tiger chip. I believe it used. The Switch 2 actually ended up using its own custom chip. So it's kind of like similar and along the lines of that, but this one's going to be a much more advanced version and um a much more improved version of that. $1,300 with a disk drive. Yes, $1,300. That's if there's a disk drive. How about this? Here's a good question. If this, okay, so I think we got our answer here on the poll. We got mostly people saying no, as it is. Now, if they do something similar, if game consoles sell without hardware, not without, of course, the main hardware you're gonna have, but like without a controller, to say, would you purchase? That's a good question, because now they're going to find ways to try to cut cost, and this is certainly one way for them to do it. So now, if a console sells without the controller, would you go ahead and make the purchase? If it falls under, somehow they reach it just touching $1,000 maybe without the controller. If the Steam Deck is 900, then the Steam Machine will be about 1,000 plus. I feel like that too, to be honest. At this point, seeing that price, originally I was having some sort of hope that maybe they already mass purchased a lot of their hardware before then. But now that if they're going to price it accordingly and they don't have the proper hardware, it's going to be expensive, unfortunately. Soon enough, they'll remove the power button to cut costs, and then when, yeah, could you imagine that? Yeah, remove the power button. That it's automatically on all the time. PS3 was true HD gaming online too, and was only $600. Remember, I'm sure you guys remember this, especially for everyone who had PlayStation for a really long time. And that is when it came to PlayStation, it used to be free. It used to be free to game online. Especially, it started from PlayStation 2, and then they slowly introduced like the whole PlayStation Network. PS3 was also true gaming online. I think PS3 was free too for a while. Again, it wasn't until they introduced the whole PSN network. Steam Machine is a computer. Yes. So that's what it practically is. It's going to be a PC. I'm curious if Project Helix is going to follow the same direction. Why is that? Why is that a dangerous? I'm just curious. I'm curious if people will actually end up making a purchase like that. If it's going to end up cheaper in that sense. Gamers Nexus had an interview where they discussed companies want individual on subscriptions versus buying a personal computer. Oh, really? I have to watch it. I have to watch that. But I'm pretty sure I'm sure these companies prefer us on subscriptions because they can just run us off on these massive servers. And as long as if they run us off on these massive servers, then they'll be pretty much happy because we don't have to technically get the hardware. They don't have to pretty much bring our product into the stores anymore, especially it would hurt Micro Center terribly. I would say it would become into a really strange environment. Like if that was the case, can you imagine everyone wouldn't have PCs then. Everyone would be pretty much running on terminals because you would be running on terminals in order for you to be able to play your games. It would, and it wouldn't be big. It could be a size of a portable hard drive, and you will be able to play your games like 007 First Light, or play your games like Resident Evil 9 Requiem, or you can play your games such as or you can play even Call of Duty for you competitive guys. But the real question is, would you have the network to be able to handle that? And that would be a big problem. Or if you wanted to play offline, how would it work? So if you think this is the way and you play $100 for GT A6, then any console is $1,000. Interesting. So one person says no. Pillow Coon says no. So feel free to vote. You just put 1 or 2 to put your vote in. Now, because some PlayStation executive guy sees that streams, and then he has a great idea to say that the PlayStation boss says, let's hope they don't do that. If that's the case, they'll be like, hey, we can sell it without the control. Can you imagine? Imagine how many people would be upset. Like if they were to purchase a PlayStation because it was the cheapest one, they're like, okay, we got the cheapest one available. And traditionally, when it came to a cheaper console, it would be because it had less storage. But nevertheless, you were able to still play your games. But just imagine you get a console and it doesn't come with a controller. So you have to make sure to purchase with a controller, or maybe have a prior generation controller. Say if they allow you to use the DualSense onto the PS6 instead of using a DualSense 2, if they call it that. Here's another idea. What if they have power buttons, but the power buttons electrocute at you? Oh man, that would be a terrible experience for a lot of people out there. That would be like almost like a theft deterrent at that point. And then selling the controller for $120. Yeah. And that's what they're gonna do. If that happens, they're gonna say like, hey, we can sell this controller now for 120. Because for the longest time, when it comes to consoles, they never truly made their money off of the consoles themselves, not off the hardware. They always made money off their games. But I'm just astonished for the fact that how how PS5 how PS5 did not have a interesting library at all of official releases. It just was a very disinteresting system, to where it just made me feel like, why should I get a PS6 at this point? Because it just pretty much sat there the whole time. Only reason why I'm keeping it is for GTA 6, and that's it. So, speaking of Nvidia's now, uh, Nvidia now, if you purchase like First Light, or you purchase certain games, you're able to actually get a subscription without actually purchasing the hardware. Now, if you take a look at the subscription, it's quite interesting for anyone that has not seen this before. Now, the way this works is that if you get the free version, you pretty much have access to 2,000 games. You have 1 hour gaming sessions and up to 1080p resolution. No priority access to a queue, and then you game off of pretty much their 4 video core CPU and 14 gigabytes of DRAM. Now, if you get the performance package, which is $100 for 12 months, you have 4,500 games that you can play, and then you have 1440p resolution for those who want to play in ultra wide or play into WVGA. It has up to 60 FPS, has 8 video cores, and up to 28 gigabytes of DRAM. Now, it does introduce ray tracing, and has up to 100 hours premium monthly playtime. Now, if you go for the $200 package, you're gaming off of an RTX 5080 for $200 for a year. So you can see how they're trying to make it more appealing for those who want to be able to game off of the cloud. And it's not just going to be based off of NVIDIA's GeForce Now, but you do also have they do also have the Luna, I believe it's called. I keep saying Luna because it makes me think of the LG version, to where you can use Xbox Game Pass to pretty much you can actually cloud game off of. and there's quite a few on that list, but it's off of LG's cloud. And that was based off of what I was telling you guys, based on what Razer wanted to do with the new Wolverine Bluetooth controller. So you're able to game these cloud games just solely your off of LG if you have a LG Smart TV. So I just bought a phone that I needed to buy a charger separate. Yeah, that's going to be more common nowadays. A lot of phones are going to do that. They're not going to provide you a charger anymore. Some are not even going to provide the USB anymore. So PS6, $1,000 without the controller. PS6 with the controller, $1,200. PS6 with the controller with two. Yeah, that seems about right. I would think that's probably more so the direction that they're headed in. So far we got no. We got no on the poll. We'll throw up another poll in a bit. But it seems that PS6 will be in the same cross gen limbo as PS5 has been. I feel like that too. There's nothing exciting. If there's any games that you are excited for on Sony, what would they be? Of course, we got Sony's Play that's going to come out, their PlayStation Play event, which is, I believe, on the 2nd. And when see what type of games they have to announce then. The only game that I could think of that they have is Wolverine, and that's probably it. Of course, they got Naughty Dog making another title for them, but it doesn't seem too interesting, to be honest, in my opinion. So in Resident Evil 9, I've been close to 15 gigabytes of VRAM when I play. Yeah, I mean, it's really easy to. I was like really even pushing the RTX 5090, like when I was pushing path tracing all the way. It's insane, like how far you could truly push it. Like you could, the good thing of how well Resident Evil Requiem optimizes their game, you could play on something like an Asus ROG Ally with no issue. And then you can also play on a PC with a full out max out RTX 5090 and really push the graphics on it. So you do have a lot of variability when it comes to the graphics when it comes to Resident Evil. So people would go mad on this. Yeah, I think it would. I think people would certainly go crazy. Now, I wonder how does everyone feel about Microsoft saying that they're not going to release Fable until the following year, that they're not going to actually release it this year because of it's pretty obvious. I think it's we can all safely say it's because GTA 6 is supposed to release around that date and they're afraid to lose sales. What do you guys think about that? Are you guys interested in playing a new Fable? I want to know if there is a lot of interest in people wanting to play Microsoft's new Fable compared to like even GTA 6. And I think a lot of games you can certainly expect, like especially around this, not September, but closer to I'd say like about the October timeframe, between October to even like maybe into late December, I could see a lot of games getting postponed then, because of course the main event here is going to be GTA 6 once that releases. But I do have an interesting theory based on that. For anyone that is curious about GTA 6 being released, I do truly believe that they will have a indication of GTA 6 or a trailer for trailer 3 that would end up being released during the whole FIFA 2026 event, which would happen in Miami, which is roughly, I think, June 16th or June 17th, especially because it's Vice City inspired, so to say, and that it would be the perfect time for them to introduce it, especially for the large audience they have for FIFA. So, what do you guys think of that? So, I say it's okay when Fable is back to October, November 2027. So it sounds like people can be certainly a bit patient, be back in a bit. Oh, okay, I gotcha. I just took my dog out like this morning, but now he's good. He's chilling. He's chilling like a villain. So, when it comes to gaming, on the gaming side, I'm really curious to see what these studios introduce. Of course, I'm hearing mixed things about Assassin's Creed's Black Flag, like how it's still somewhat glitchy. Of course, it's still early since the release is until July. But man, Ubisoft, they just they just can't get it together. They really need to get their games. They have to bring interest in their games once again. But going back into the whole side of when it comes to the hardware side, when it comes to Computex. We should expect, we're going to hear a lot, especially starting on Monday. You're going to hear a lot of new items, not even into Monday. Actually, thinking of it, you will start hearing things about it till around Sunday. I'd say Sunday, about like afternoon Sunday. You'll probably start to see things, or even Sunday morning. So you're going to see a lot of introduction of new products, new hardware, and seeing the new cost will certainly be a tall tale, especially when it comes to CES. We'll know how much items are going to be, and that's going to be pretty much a good indicator of what we can expect for the upcoming year so far. So definitely check out the Computex, and hopefully it's not going to be covered into more AI than we need to be. Certainly does not interest me to to join these wonderful meetings that they do have, because it's nothing but AI talk anymore. So simply Takuma says, because playground games have a lot to do with Forza Horizon 6 now, they can't concentrate on two games, so they're backing up on Fable till next year. But then hopefully the game has better quality. I'm hoping that it does the same as well. I hope that it is a high quality game that we all are looking for. And for all you members or those who are thinking of becoming members, just to give you guys a heads up, I will be dropping a video for you guys coming up in right after the live stream, and it'll be on public release by Sunday morning. So definitely check that out. I'll go into a bit more into depth about when it comes to the handheld side of the industry, and what you can expect a lot out of these new consoles here. Now, if you guys are curious about the specifications when it comes to MSI's new 8 Claw 8 AI Plus, it does contain the Intel G3 Extreme. It also has a nice, wonderful 8-inch display, 120 hertz. So it's kind of similar when it comes to its predecessor, when they had the different variation of Lunar Lake, but it also has Hall effect sticks and triggers, again similar. It also has 32 gigabytes of LPDDR5X, so it has all these wonderful features, but then again, the pricing is certainly one to question. So Ram says, "Hi, would you prefer a weaker GPU with a power efficiency? I'm assuming you're meaning power efficiency, or a stronger GPU that's power hungry." Okay, so you want me to pick between the two. It just depends. It depends on what I'm going to be using the GPU for. Now, if I'm going to be using the GPU for, say, like for portable gaming, I obviously would prefer more of the power efficiency, because I want to be able to extend the life of it. On a laptop, the same way, I would prefer a bit of a weaker GPU if that's the case. But if it's power hungry, it has to be constantly plugged in, and then I would prefer that over something that is a weaker GPU. So speakers in colleges have been getting booed. Oh, really? It's been bad, right? It's been really bad, like for them to even talk. I would you prefer a? Okay, I answered that. But hopefully that answers your question there. That is funny though. I could see it getting booed. So for everybody that's in colleges now, or for anyone that's even in the workforce, I got a great question to ask for you. Have you seen, has AI appeared in your colleges or workforce? Or your workforce? So feel free to answer. Let me know. Has AI shown up either in your colleges or in your workforce? I would love to know. That's not, I'm assuming, is that you're talking about just GPU wise? A friend of mine wants to upgrade to a RX 7800 XT to a RX. It's a decent upgrade. That's definitely a decent upgrade, because he could take advantage of the new AMD FSR4. Now the 7800 XT can also go FSR4, but it won't be till July until then. But I think 9070 XT is a pretty decent upgrade. Of course, if he can hold off. Oh, my dog wants to go out. Give me a second, guys. All right, there we go. And that's the great. Okay, so you guys been seeing it. In what form or fashion have you guys been seeing it? Just out of curiosity. His only reasoning is Ultra. For Ryzen. Oh, nice. Gas out. I got great news for you. We raised up. We raised up to I think Gas out was like the one who started this whole Threadripper build that he wants to see get done. We got about $160 raised for the Threadripper build, so we're getting there. Hey V, man, I feel bad for you, bro. Especially for what you're going through. I can't wait for you to get your replacements because as soon as you do, it's going to be much better. I keep telling him to hold off because it's not that huge of an upgrade. Yeah, that's what I would say. Like, it's kind of better if he holds off. I think RDNA 5 would certainly be something more of what he's looking for. I'm expecting much better things. Of course, it could be also more expensive too, depending on the type of tech that they choose to put in it. My degree got changed to AI. Really? That's so crazy. Really? That's insane. Imagine spending thousands on education and just the speaker just tells you you won't be able to use your degree. Yeah, I know. Pretty soon they're gonna have. Do they have these classes already, guys? For AI, do they have actually classes for prompting, like giving prompts to AI? Just out of curiosity, do they have classes of that just yet? Doc on the 16th. Upgraded from a 7600 to its 7600. It's different from a 7800. Oh yeah, that's a big upgrade then. A GTX 1650 over to a 9070 XT is a large improvement. Yeah, no problem, Avy. Yeah, hopefully you'll get through it. Usually, again, like I said, Leon's really good when it comes to their customer care. So I'm sure they'll have a decent replacement for you. Our surgery robots have AI. We have Claude to run the inventory reports, implementing Workday with AI. Ah, that is interesting. Toaster Man. Yes, thank you. Thank you for joining in as always. So yeah, that's crazy. Do they have Charlie Tord? I'm just gonna wait for Zen 6 and RDNA 5. Hey, there's nothing wrong with that. Zen 6 is going to be a very interesting CPU, I gotta say. Especially if it's going to be anything like the 9950X3D 2. Surgery robots with AI. So it's kind of yeah, can you imagine a bunch of surgical robots just spinning like with a scalpel like crazy, just like kind of like a Mortal Kombat guillotine or a Mortal Kombat like that would be crazy. I think in my English class, they taught us how to prompt to write reports. Oh, really? That is interesting. So because I know a lot of colleges they still use AI against AI, right? So like in order for them to check your reports, they have to use AI in order for them to that see if they can detect if it's any type of AI being used, right? Oh yeah, Destiny 2's unplayable now. Yeah, it's a shame. R.I.P. Destiny. For anyone that was a big fan of, I never got to play Destiny 2, which is wild. I only played the first one. That 270, yeah, of course. Like anybody that needs a 270K plus, definitely the way to go. Because if you get a 270K plus, like take a look at these builds here. Let's go Intel. You could get a 270K plus with a Gigabyte Z890 Eagle Wi-Fi board for $388. That's a decent deal. You just have to, but of course, it's good to get the memory with it if you can. Well, I see AI implementing slowly, also on my side, but construction works and plumbing can't be replaced by robots. But on the planning side and on the online stores, I see it slowly to change. It's crazy. Yeah, I do got to give it a shot. I want to play before the servers end. I do want to play Destiny to see how it's like. But the crazy thing is, Jensen Huang actually thinks differently. You know how Jensen Huang wants to. If you guys don't know, the way he wants to do everything, because he said this in this NVIDIA meeting, which was that for the robots to do jobs such as like plumbing or work or electrician type of work, instead you would have to be willing to do this though, is that they would have a pretty much like a robot that goes out into the field. And for example, say if they're wiring something as an electrician, that they would actually give you the VR glasses and pretty much the handsets. And that way you can actually work on electricity through the robot. And then after so many tasks, like you train it for a year or two, the robot will be able to do the task itself. And that was one of the ways that NVIDIA was thinking of doing like that type of work is through robots. And the AI would just pick up on every task that you would do pretty much through the robot. So you would pretty much train the robot into doing these tasks. So just remember, if you can't play your favorite shooters without TPM, there's always Counter-Strike. Yes, absolutely. Destiny, yeah, that's what I mean. I played the first Destiny. I never played the second one for some reason. Trade schools are the way of the future. I feel like that too. I could see a lot going wrong with that too at the same time. Our company is hiring an experienced data engineer with Nginx implementation experience. Minimum is 48 to. Wow, that's crazy. So there's like 1,000 updates coming to Destiny 2. I'm not playing. Oh, I'm not. Oh, really? So they're trying to probably they're probably every idea that they've ever had into Destiny, they're trying to implement it and before it shuts down at this point. So robots in the field would not be I know. That would take some time. That would take some time. That's why people refuse to train AI. They don't want. Yeah, you would be practically training the robot to take your job away at that point. We made people make robots, fired them, and made the robots make better robots. Ah, yeah. That sounds like the direction we're headed in. That's an awesome quote to remember, actually, Rugal. That is true. I'll take away that poll there, and I think most people that are working, would you be willing? People that are working, would you be willing? I'm pretty sure the majority is going to say no to this. Would you be willing to train a robot for, say, triple your pay? I gotta add that in there. Maybe it would entice people. Would you be willing to trade a robot for triple the pay? I think some people will certainly definitely debate on that one. Our surgery robots were designed for the military. Really, not to be putting surgeons in harm's way. Ah, that's interesting. The little kid's like, hell no, I'm not doing that. I hope we don't reach the level of atomic heart. Yeah, yeah. I mean, at that point, we're not that far off. That package is sort of robot look, so of a place like an old geezer. So anybody that's in the field, if you're, regardless of what you do, if they have robots to be able to do the task that you do, would you be willing to train the robot? No. Yeah, Taguma's like, hell no. I think a lot of us would pretty much deny that. You know how many people would go against it? And like, you would have unions that practically go up against robots at that point. I call the people that code or develop these AI models as traders. That's interesting. I already use automated systems for renting property. How much more auto I? I mean, it can. Eh, It's pretty crazy. It's pretty crazy how automated we truly can get. That's their Faustian mindset. And speaking of which, the crazy story I got to tell you guys is like when I was calling for a doctor's appointment, right? I was calling to change up a doctor's appointment. So I called them, saying that I wanted to obviously change the day. So when I called, I was speaking to this guy, and it sounded just like a regular person until I said something, and something was off. It sounded like a regular person. Then I realized, like, wait, this isn't a regular person because I said something, and I think it was in the middle of talking and stopped. And I realized, like, this is AI that I'm talking to. So it's definitely something that we're going to see, something that is more into society, especially now. We're definitely going to deal with more AI customer service than anything. I think that's where we'll see it, a lot of it at. That's their Faustian mindset. Less jobs means less people, means less resource competition. The problem is that we have more resources than they know, but they'd rather hoard what they think is left. Yeah, they think about taking the most money that you can. You can save a ton of money if you go with AI. So Khan says this is like when CNC machinery first started. CNC machines only needed to have a green button to be pushed to work, and they're great. However, you still need machine mechanics. Yet that is true. That is true. Like no matter what, you can't truly get rid of people. You will always need to have someone there to be that is knowledgeable about the subject. For example, say if a robot was headed to do like an importing, let's go into the plumbing side, right? If they were there to do a important plumbing job that they needed something to be done immediately to fix like a busted water pipe. Now, if the robot breaks down, what do you do then? Then you send another robot, say that one breaks down. So you gotta always have humans that are knowledgeable because as soon as people do not understand how things work or have any type of skill, that can certainly become problematic. So I will still go with if you have a full-time rewarding career, go blue collar and be smart. You can make real good money, learn way more skills, and retire. That is true. That's a great advice to share, Buster. So we had robots in the factories for ages now. Robots have been easily learning all this time. Instead of using G codes, you can simply drag the robot with hands to where to what it needs to do. So that and again, yeah, robots have always been existent, and I do agree, especially in factories, they've always had them into, like, for example, putting pills into a bottle or something. Just for an example, or like jelly beans, I should say, jelly beans into a bag and wrap it. They've always been pretty much automated for the most part, but there's always been people there that has to operate the equipment and understand the equipment. So You'll you'll need water. Yes, they got to be waterproof. Exactly, and that's a problem there. And you have to assume that they have the power to be able to handle it. Like, because sometimes some jobs they could take hours on end. They can't be constantly plugged in. Maybe they can only run for say 23 hours at the most, and then they have to go ahead and go get charged. What do? They stop the job, go back, and get charged. So I don't know if I shared it before, but I shared surgery robots on Discord. Oh yeah, yeah. I mean it's. I think it's very. I think the good thing about surgical robots though, they can be really precise at what they do. It's insane. Like I do remember. I think the one video you actually sent was like how precise a surgical robot can be. It's amazing. It truly is. The accuracy and the steadiness of when it comes to it. Celeron CPU says, is the RX 7900 XTX bad? My friends are saying not to get it, and I can get a 5080, but I'm on a budget. Oh, what are your goals? What are you trying to reach at, Celeron? What are you trying to do? So, sorry, I must go. My sister has a big. Oh, okay. Good luck. Hopefully, everything you can fix your big sister's laptop. I'm sure you're the go-to guy to go. So Celeron. So, what are you trying to do? Workstation and raw performance. Oh, okay, so workstation use. Um, okay, so are you using the workstation for what type of usage? You're using it for like are you trying to run like server? Or are you trying to are you mostly doing things like rendering? What type of usage? So I don't know if I will ever trust a surgical robot watching a self-driving cars get confused due to white lines. You know, I always wonder that too. Like when it comes to self-driving cars, um, and I know some of you guys that have Teslas can certainly answer this. How's it work when it comes to the self-driving? When it comes to lines that are being constructed on the road, for example, they're in the middle of expanding a lane, but they didn't get rid of the old line, so of course it's still visible. Does the self-driving get confused and still continue on that, or does it know like, hey, this is being worked on, we can't go on these lines? So, oh really? Oh well, that doesn't sound good. So, robots in factories often crash, especially if it's hot summer or when there's usually a storm. There is usually takes several hours to restart them, and that costs factories a ton of money. They lose money by the minute if that's the case. So for them, it can be efficient, but then it can be terrible at the same time. So that is a great point to bring up. So, if you have a robot doing an important task, it's very important to have it to be able to rely on it. Have it to be 100% reliable, especially in cases of like down power lines or plumbing emergencies. So, again, it's hard for AI to truly take over everything, including a skilled trade. So I think skilled trade is still going to be very heavy into demand, and it would take many, many, many years until a robot could truly take over something like a skilled trade. Um, so let's see. Yes, Ryzen 4070 or the R. Yeah, I definitely picked that up. Oh, JS Blender. So if you're using it for Blender, go 5080 then. I would go 5080. Yep, the bosses come out of their caves and shout that we stop that we stop the robots. That is funny. Oh yeah, they're probably pissing their pants at that point. At Marlin Firearms, we had a robot arm that was polished the rifle receivers. It would mimic the same motions of using a belt sander and polished wheels it did. Oh, really? That's pretty insane. It's amazing like how what some of these robot tasks can do, especially if the tasks are mundane. But for certain tasks, it's unable to be able to really complete it. So I still remember our GPS freaking out at creating jobs when the weather acted up. Really? Does anyone here have a Tesla? Can answer that question out of curiosity about like if it's able to differentiate a road that's being under construction. All of this, I'll remove that poll too. It seems like nobody's gonna say yes to that. So 250K or the upcoming 77. Uh, Between the two, I thought you wanted to build a workstation. If you're building a workstation, those are the CPUs that you wouldn't use. Huh, interesting. So yes, our GPS system we're grading blades and dozers of with GPS automatics. I remember when our factory lost power, they told us to clean inside the cells. minus the fact that we couldn't see inside and get injured. So the robots lost air pressure and we're dropping. Oh, really? Oh, wow. That's gonna really hurt the company then. That's a lot of lawsuits. How many people did a lot of people end up getting hurt, or were they okay? Hopefully they were okay. Nobody got seriously hurt, because that could be pretty serious. That's terrible. Now for anyone that's just coming in, we were talking on based on the NVIDIA, um, and one X, I think it is the ARM chip that they are coming out with. The ARM chip that they are going to be releasing is going to be competitive against the M series line, and of course Snapdragon's ARM chips as well. Really curious to see how NVIDIA does perform. This could actually bring in more competition when it comes to the laptop and handheld space. Of course, the pricing is something to talk about. It does make you curious to see where they will price this, especially as you know, this type of hardware is not going to be cheap. So I remember Mark Rover compared Tesla versus Lucid cameras versus LiDAR. LiDAR work better. Yeah, they have LiDAR version 2 already. They were actually showcasing that, I remember, at CES. So will you be buying that chip or a PC with a chip? Well, it's a PC. That's going to be a PC with a chip. So it's going to be based in a laptop, or it's going to be based into some sort of handheld device. It's going to be good for competition wise, especially for those who are looking to compare something like a MacBook Pro versus a Windows laptop, where it does contain the new NVIDIA ARM chip. So there's quite a lot of maintenance technicians that have lost their lives dealing with robots here at my company. Oh, that's sad. That's a terrible way to go. That is a terrible. That is a especially that is the last place anyone should go, especially at the workplace. NVIDIA books to replace our yeah, pretty much. It's going to replace the Chromebooks. It's supposed to be more powerful. So you're able to use it for things. Like if you wanted to use it for something like you're editing your videos, it should have the capability and it should be able to game. And the funny thing is Snapdragon Elite version, the 5th generation, is able to play a lot of games. That was one of the biggest issues that they had when it came to not NVIDIA, when it came to Qualcomm's ARM chips, is that it was unable to play a lot of PC games. But now it's a lot more capable, that you're able to play a lot more games in the Gen 5 chip. So when it comes to NVIDIA, I think there's definitely going to be a lot more playability with it. And you can also be able to have decent battery life. Instead of having two separate components where you have a dedicated GPU, everything will be integrated, similar to like how it is when it comes to any other ARM processor. So I'm really curious to see what they offer. It's not going to be no surprise if they start pushing this whole AI agenda some more, like where they say that it has the capabilities of being able to be able to assist you instead of using something like Copilot. But it does raise questions that they do have Microsoft involved with NVIDIA to see what they do bring in. So Google says Huawei also did a laptop-oriented chip last year called the Kirin X90A, but it was under China's exclusive. I wonder if they'll. That's definitely going to be difficult. It might be sent to other locations. I know specifically in the U.S. side. More than likely, it won't be. Now, when it comes to Huawei, I feel very mixed about them. I definitely still prefer more of Taiwanese semiconductors over more than Chinese manufacturers. So if is the 50, I believe it is more than likely. We're probably going to end up seeing it in Computex. We'll know for sure within, like, I'd give it about 2 days, because Computex, the official doors open on the 2nd. The media day will be on the 1st. Right now in Taiwan, it's 11:44 at night, May 30th. They're about to enter June 1st. They're going to have their press day tomorrow. So pretty soon you're going to see stuff probably within maybe about 6 to 7 hours, you're going to see some updates for Computex. So we had death at the plant later, only to find out reading the news when I got all my folks were worried because they reported it was a contractor, leaving a lot of families worried. Yeah, that's no joke when it comes to workplace hazards. Definitely be careful if you work in a dangerous area. That's sad. Well, some lose their life in their wait. Well, some lose their life. I'm sorry, Pillow King, I can't read that. Uh, in the restroom, I'm assuming, and some get heart attacks when they went outside the factory gates to the parking lot. 70% of people I know, yeah, usually factories are like that. Again, that's like one of the reasons why they are very strong into being unionized when it comes to things like this. But again, that's a whole different subject to get into. Like when it comes to health overall, factory work is not for everyone, and it's just for a short while. And that's why they pay so much to do a lot of it. Like a lot of that factory work. We had a chemical plant explosion here in Longview. People are still missing. Oh, terrible. So, yeah, I know you guys have Huawei banned due to security concerns, and mostly Chinese phones are not supported by American. Yes. And yeah, for us, it's truly not that supported. Um, but it's a shame. I miss Asus like coming out with their phones as well. They were up to the Zenfone 9. They also had the ROG phone, which was up to, I think they were up to 4, and they were going to go into the 5th. But I think they completely stopped making phones overall in that side. I believe Asus will still make phones, but it's just going to be like this, just the Zen phones, which is not going to be anywhere near to like breaking tech. So I heard one guy died in his car, and they found him a few days later in the parking spot. Uh yeah, that's you do not want to find a guy like that. That's a shame. Terrible. Man, this conversation is kind of dark. So, but hopefully, I just hope that if anybody is working those type of fields, just remember your health is overall most important than the actual job. You can always get another job. Your health is something you truly can't replace. So, Ernesto says, I'm old school. I miss my Blackberry Storm. Yeah, those were the days. The nice BBM, the Blackberry Messenger. So, Asus stopped making. Oh, they did. So they stopped all phones completely. Gaming tablets. I mean, they did have the Kojima one, which is actually Micro Center came out with. They actually advertised it. Let me see. The Kojima one, which is going to, it's expensive though, right here. The ROG Flow Z13, $3,700 for it. Has a wonderful type of APU in there though, the AI Max 395. So it's definitely going to be good, a lot better in battery life because it doesn't require a dedicated GPU. Now they do offer an external GPU with it, but just this is like something that they came out with. Of course, it's expensive. I don't know if anyone's gonna pay that price for it. $3,700 is definitely reaching. But I'm curious if anybody out there would be truly interested in getting something like a ROG Flow Z13 to have. Now, I can say it was really nice to see, but it is, you can see how it looks here. It's like a little bit thicker than you would think. But you can truly take this on the go, and it's very customizable. And they have like this isn't the only carbon fiber part. They actually have quite a bit on the actual body. They have a lot of different modifications you can do with the ROG Flow Z13. So I would get one of those Red Magic phones if they were, excuse me. I can't do it without that feature anymore. Yeah. I actually think their phones are pretty decent too. Um, of course, that you pay for definitely what you get for, but I think this is a pretty decent PC, but $3,700 is definitely a lot of money for a portable PC, I gotta say. So if you guys are interested in that, let me know because I'm really curious if you are. Um, I would imagine that this is probably hard to sell. They only got one in stock, so I would imagine they only had a limited supply for this. Leflo Red Magic 11 Pro has liquid cooling but no waterproofing. Yeah, that is true. That is truly the irony when it comes to these type of phones here. But yeah, I gotta say the ROG Flow Z13, expensive, but again, definitely for a very specific type of customer, especially for you wonderful Kojima fans out there. So, when it comes to PC building, if you are trying to build a PC, we were covering about the whole hardware space. It seems that hardware is gonna get more expensive, and that it's no longer going to be in the three-digit mark for anyone that is looking to get a gaming handheld. We're just like barely there. We do have some, which is the Steam Deck, which is still based at $750 for a 512 gigabyte model. The only thing is, as you know, it's dated hardware. So it's expensive, especially for what it is, especially for a piece of tech that has roughly came out about let me see, about 4 or 5, actually 5 years ago. So it came out about 5 years ago, and you're still paying 750 or 900 and 750 for the 512, and you got 1 terabyte for $950. So that's a $240 increase. It's going to get more expensive when it comes to the handheld space. Unfortunately, it seems that we are no longer going to be available to be able to get these handheld gaming devices and a three-digit mark. Of course, one of the best advices I can give if you are trying to get a handheld like that is definitely get it while you can either get it pre-owned or open box, then you can get a better deal on it. But then, of course, when it comes to newer tech, such as the MSI Claw 8 EX8 AI Plus, I know it's such a long name. Then they got the Zero Predator Atlas 8. You got the One EX Player 8, which all featured the new Intel G3 Extreme. You can expect that going to be in the four-digit mark, and it's no longer going to be available to be able to get any of these handhelds for a much lower price than under $1,000. So Charizard says, "Does that Z13 have art?" No, it does not. It does not, unfortunately. RDNA 5 won't appear till probably the next year, or maybe end of yeah, probably next year. I would say next year. We would probably see it maybe if we're lucky at the end of the year, but I don't even think we'll see it then. It's going to happen next year. So Rugal says, well, to give perspective, Chinese phones are supported all over Asia and Europe, yet Samsung is still the best seller. Habits die hard. Yeah, that's true. Samsung still has a great phone. The funny thing is I've used Samsung phones for the longest. I love their phones. I think it's a great product, but I don't. Ever since they had the S20 and then they kind of went past the whole S20 side, I feel like they haven't changed the design, and that's one thing that has certainly bothered me about Samsung's devices. Now, I've also used Apple devices. That's what I currently use now for my phone. But I gotta say, if I just hope Samsung can get back to where they originally were, because it seems like they're kind of losing their whole innovative side when it comes to phones. So, for anyone that is interested in building a PC, I highly recommend going to AMD and Intel bundles. Or if you are doing a bundle and you don't have a Micro Center near you, you can always go to Newegg and go ahead and do these bundles as well. You can get it for a much better deal, so to say, compared to building a whole PC one by one. It's going to be more expensive that way, unfortunately. For example, say you're interested in an X870 board by ASUS, you want the e-gaming motherboard, right? So if you look at the e-gaming motherboard, you take a look here, and usually Newegg sets their bundles right under here on the bottom in the package. So you click that package, and that easy you can find a decent bundle. Now you can get the ROG Strix X870E Gaming with a with some RAM that is 32 gigabytes for $639. That's a better deal than purchasing one for one. For example, if you were to purchase it separate, The Asus ROG Strix e-gaming motherboard is going to be $399.99, and then you have to purchase the RAM itself, which is $484, which doesn't make sense. So if you're doing a PC build, or even if you're looking to upgrade your hardware, make sure to do a bundle instead. You'll save a lot more instead of actually purchasing the components on its own, because then it becomes too expensive. Yeah, I know that's and that it kills me. That kills me, man. So is there credibility for the fear of Huawei equipment being used to gather information? There is credibility for that, but of course, that I can definitely bring into another discussion for another day. There was chips that were proven to pretty much track information, but that's how they've always been, unfortunately, when it comes to China. Now, I'm on the ecosystem: iPhone, Mac Mini, MacBook Pro, Apple TV. Wow, you got the whole ecosystem. The only thing I don't have, I have Apple TV built into my TV, and I have a MacBook Pro. I usually use that for my work, the Mac Mini, and the watch. That's like pretty much everything. There's something though that most people don't have, and which is the Apple Home. I don't think that's such a great product though. So I don't see another reason to build another PC. I have a 14700K, 32 gigabytes of DDR5 at CL30. Honestly, yeah, there's no need for you to build another PC. Though, if you have a PC already and you have a 14700K, don't do it. Only build a PC if you necessarily need it. If you're still gaming off of a 4790K and you have and you have a not a RTX, a GTX, or yeah, the GTX 960 or something, then yes, I could see why you need to upgrade. But if you're on a newer, more modern system, even if you're on the 12900K, I honestly don't see like the benefits of upgrading. I would say just upgrade the processor then, if anything. But as I did build the APC last year, I got OnePlus Nordic 2, bought it in 2020. I still think that it's better than my Samsung S25 or S26. And the S26 uses a chip made with a 2 nanometer process, yet they're less efficient than the. Yeah, it's so weird. That certainly needs to be. They have to improve on the tech when it comes to the smartphones, because it's almost like repetitive. There's not really anything new or innovative when it comes to it. I think what would change it is once we start getting into the use of satellites, and that's been like something that they've talked for a long time about. So Steven Anderson says, I have a Moto G stylus, 12 gigabytes of RAM, and I have a 256 gigabyte drive. I love the phone. You know, the biggest thing that they've been trying to promote to me was like the whole Motorola Razr 2026. I don't even know what the phone looks like. It does have me a bit curious, but of course, this isn't a stream about the Motorola's. So I would say even yeah, exactly. 12600K is good. And if you have the AM5, like having a 7600 is even good. A 7600X or a 7600X3D is still excellent. They made a triple folding. Yeah, yeah, that's true. That is true. I almost, the crazy thing is, I almost forgot all about that. But that was pretty cool to see. I just can't imagine like carrying a phone like that around. I think it is pretty dope. And especially because how much thinner. I've seen how much it improved over the first generation to the fifth generation when it comes to their full devices, and I gotta say, it is quite a large difference between them. 12th generation is great for gaming and no problems. Yes, absolutely. Nobody should really truly have issues on a more modern platform, as long as if you're on AM5 or if you're on LGA 1700. Those two platforms are still good enough to game modern games with no issue. Now, of course, the problems could be like some of the hardware may be limited. Maybe you need some more RAM, or maybe you need some more storage space, but that's it. It's not going to be much of an upgrade. Of course, when it comes down to that, make sure you actually need the upgrade before purchasing, because as you know, hardware is expensive. Only space where it's not as expensive is when it comes to like motherboards or AIOs. Like certain items are not as expensive, but again, I truly knock on wood on this. Yeah, exactly. Linux. And that's a whole nother conversation. When it comes to Linux, you could really extend the life of hardware. You could be on AM4 and you'd still be great. You could be on 11th gen Intel and you'd still be fine. There you go. The N1 laptops. Actually, I can share this with everybody here because I know, and they actually have quite the list here. So some of the N1X, I'm glad someone actually shared this over on X here. It says, here's the list. This is on videocards.com. I'm going to share with you guys real quick. Microsoft and ASUS teased the NVIDIA N1 laptops ahead of Computex. Now they have ASUS has joined in as the list as well, NVIDIA N1. And Microsoft, this is what we were talking about, how they kind of hinted on it. Something new is coming for developers. So they just kind of give you the screenshot of what it is, and it's clarified not a new OS version. This rules out Windows 12, so I guess some people were hoping a new OS. More than likely, when it does come to a new OS, they don't mention it this early. It's always like September, August. It's usually a little bit later. Dell is already confirmed that Computex Media Material, that company has an XPS laptop and NVIDIA M1X prepared for May 31st. So again, yeah, as expected, be prepared to hear about it. When they say May 31st, they're talking about Taiwan's May 31st. So don't expect it within, you're going to hear news. It's 12 o'clock. So you'll probably hear news within roughly about like 10 hours from now. It's going to be like 10 hours about this. So Dell XPS, Dell XPS, Lenovo Legion 7, and they have the Lenovo Idea Slim 5, Lenovo Yoga Pro, and the Lenovo Yoga 2-in-1, ASUS ProArt. Okay, so a lot of these laptops, what they sound like to me, are going to be more work inspired. So this definitely does not sound more for anybody that is looking for a the whole gaming variant. That's probably still in the works, but this is definitely meant for those who are creators and those who are looking for those who are trying to. Wasabi, great to see you. Well, yeah, I can see that. Nice. How's it feel to finally get direct internet? Everything is cabled, no more what? Too many problems, right? I don't think so. But more than likely, it seems that the N1 and the N1X is going to be based for work uses, for work purposes. So anybody that is looking for a laptop, for say if you are a big Adobe user, then this would be definitely a great way to go. But so, fam guys, I do appreciate everyone that has been part of the live. I certainly do appreciate you guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'm sorry I have to hop off Wasabi right when you hop on, but I certainly appreciate Steven Rugel. I appreciate Ernesto, Chari Tard for coming in, and of course Takuma as being part of us, Pillow Coon, and Celeron, Khan. I appreciate all you guys for coming in. I do appreciate all you wonderful guys for coming in. And of course, I'll probably end up doing some more live streams this week as we discover a bit more about CES coming up. But thank you guys all for coming in. I do appreciate it. And so far for the Threadripper build, we got about $160 raised up for it, thanks to all of you. And of course, I'll update the numbers as soon as I can. So thank you guys so much for coming in. And yes, I will certainly do it live. I would love to make videos on it, but of course, I'd rather do more videos if I'm there in person. But since I'm not, we will do things more live. So thank you guys for all coming in, and certain coverage, I'll let you guys know. If I go live, it's going to be mostly on Twitch, because of course, YouTube can certainly be picky about things. So thank you guys so much for watching. This is Chris Meza signing out.